Homer Bailey. All right. Got Rick Venturi at 5, Racer on bottom of the hour on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Normally he is in here. When he's in here, that means he brings beer, but I understand he's busy out at IMS getting ready for some races this coming weekend. Speedway Prez Doug Boles joins us. You're not only getting ready for races, but you got a little concert out there and everything, huh?
Yeah, and I got an update on your sinus cavity and your cold sore. That's a scary way to start out this conversation. We are flat out getting ready for a big weekend here.
Yeah. See, it just pisses me off, though. I did everything in my power to cut this thing off midway through, and it still goes all the way through the cycle. You know what I mean? I tried to stop it. I tried to stop it at head cold, Just wouldn't let me.
Yeah, I had that issue last year, spring break, and you just know it's coming, and you buy all the crap that they say works, and you might as well not purchase it because you end up getting it and you have to live with it and try and explain. People look at you funny in meetings, and yeah, it's a great thing.
I'm telling you what, I took some Mucinex, and I know everybody wants to hear this, Doug. I took some Mucinex on Saturday night, and I woke up Sunday morning like I had slept in the mailbox. Seriously, I mean, I felt horrible. I would rather not take anything. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, and the summer colds are worse than the winter ones. So
90
sorry
degree,
you're going through that.
90-degree colds. All right, so how are things going out there in preparation for this weekend?
I think they seem to be going pretty well. I'm just now literally leaving the side of the dirt track, which we spent all summer trying to build, so we can get running tomorrow. Getting ready for our race on Thursday night. They have practice and all going on tomorrow, and then we roll right into NASCAR weekend with our Lilly Diabetes thing on 250 and our big machine vodka. Maybe you should do some big machine vodka for that cold sore.
I'm way ahead of you. I had some Larceny Bourbon. I'm sorry, that's not a sponsor. Larceny Bourbon on my desk, and I had to take a shot of that.
It's medicinal purposes only.
Yeah,
right?
They got to understand that around here. Yeah, because I hate feeling this way. It's like twice a year, and it never happens during the summertime, and now that it does. But yeah, I'm way ahead of you on that. I'm trying anything and everything right now, Doug.
Well, I think it's fine. I think you ought to keep trying. Come on out here. I'm sorry, I'm not. Next time I come in, I won't bring. Normally bring the Miller Lite Coors. I'll bring some of the more powerful stuff and see if that helps. If that helps you.
I appreciate it.
We are so excited about the weekend. New date, obviously, from where we were before. We get to share the weekend with the Colts. We're used to sharing race weekends with the Pacers, so this is a brand new one for us. And we're hoping that all the eyes of the sports world are paying attention to Indianapolis on Sunday. We can't wait.
So Doug Boles, Speedway Prez, big Brickyard weekend coming up this weekend. You mentioned the dirt track that's on the interior of IMS. From Sarah Fisher and the likes that have tested this, what's the feedback that you've been given?
Well, so really, we've only had 2 cars on it. Levi Jones, who's a unbelievable former USAC racer, works for USAC now, put a sprint car on it last week just to make sure he was comfortable with things. And then Sarah did some laps in the midget, and admittedly, she got out and said, I only ran it like 70%. It was a little bit dry because we hadn't been watering it last week, but everybody that's seen it seemed to think it's going to race really well and are looking forward to it. So we really won't know, though, until tomorrow when we start putting cars on it. We're north of 120 cars, I think, entered, so it's going to be wild and crazy. In fact, I just talked to Connor Daly, who just got done testing for the first time in his life a midget out at Putnamville because he's decided he's going to run this week at Wednesday and Thursday in a midget, which will be a first for him. So, and he said it was a blast to drive, so I know he's looking forward to running as well.
That's awesome. Who came up with this idea? I thought it was tremendous when you guys announced it, but who can we give credit to for that idea?
Well, a few years ago when we did the little Tony Stewart stunt, where we built just a flat track and brought some drivers in and put some midgets out there just for Tony, because Tony had always talked about how he'd love to have a short track race at the Speedway, and we just always thought, there's really no way that'd work. And then when we had that opportunity to do that stunt for him, we thought this is sort of a thank you to Tony, but also an experiment to see if we could really put something in the infield in terms of the right size. And then from that point on, to be honest, the biggest catalyst was Brian Clausen. I mean, we walked away that evening, and Brian was sort of walked with his arm around me and said, we got to figure out a way to do this. Bringing short trackers back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway would be awesome. And unfortunately, we lost Brian. But in some ways, it's felt all along like Brian's been helping push us across the finish line. So I give a lot of credit to Brian. Susie Elliott internally at the Speedway is a massive short tracker. I go to short track all the time, so there's a big short track contingency at the Speedway, and it is a heart and soul of motorsport. So if we can bring those fans back to the Speedway, we think we can begin to build Brickyard Weekend and get people reconnected to the Speedway.
Doug Boles joins us. What's been all the feedback here from sports fans in general that are going to have to split some time between one or the other, considering the Colts and the Bengals play at the same time Sunday?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is going to be for folks like you. I think the place where we'll probably lose the most is just in local media coverage for the Brickyard, because being opening weekend, whether the Colts play at home or away, that's a big deal for this community. It's a big deal on a national level for this community. This year, even more so with Andrew coming back and hopefully putting a W on the board for his city. I think that's where you see it the most. We've gotten mostly very positive feedback from fans who are excited about coming in September when, other than the last week, the weather theoretically should be cooler, and that's the biggest complaint. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure fans that are here stay up with the game. Obviously, they probably listen on the radio as well to keep track of it. But like I said, we're used to sharing days with the Pacers, and we're looking forward to sharing with the Colts. The beautiful thing about Indianapolis community, really, while we at some level compete for the same dollars, in a lot of ways we try and help each other out to make sure everybody's successful. And the Colts have been great at communicating with us, and we've tried to keep a line of communication open with them so we're not stepping on each other's press conferences and all the other things. So just really it's the spirit of this community. So we're excited that, as crazy as it is to say, we're excited to share a national stage, two national stages with the Colts.
Are you going to show some Colts highlights out there? Can you do that?
So we were trying to figure out if we can do that. And I think the NFL is pretty strict on some of those rules. So if they accidentally get up there, it'll be an accident. And so hopefully, I don't like accidents to happen, but every once in a while they do.
Oh yeah, I'd hate for an accident like that to happen. Yeah, oh, you can't have that. Yeah, I like it. I like that idea too. So that's good. What do you think overall? I mean, outside of this, the weather in general and the heat, and moving it where it matters obviously a little bit more as far as the whole chase or whatever is concerned. Do you like it, or do you know yet if you like it better in this spot?
Well, what I do know is where it wasn't working. For since 2008, really, we have been on a downward trend in terms of our ticket sales, and we've done a lot of different things over those almost 10 years to try and make adjustments, and none of them have stemmed the tide. And so we really went to NASCAR. Mark Miles and I flew to New York to meet with NASCAR about a year and a half ago now, and said, hey, we got to make a change. We offered up a whole host of ideas and thoughts on things that we could do here to really revitalize the Brickyard, but we left the meeting with the one thing that in order for us to really have a chance at making this as successful as we think it can be, it needs a complete reset. We just can't tweak it a little bit. And so this was the beginning, but not just the date. It had to be either sort of the last date in the chase or the first date in the playoffs, as they call it now. So being able to be the last one, set the regular season champion, set the field that's going to go compete for the Monster Energy Cup. And then to us, that wasn't even enough. So that's why you've got the Big Machine folks with Florida Georgia Line involved in that concert Saturday night. Last year we had a Friday, Saturday. We're going to try just a massive Saturday concert, and then we'll evaluate going into next year, and then getting crazy this summer and building the dirt track. So we're trying to make it an event week, not just a race, and see if we can't get this thing to get going in the right direction. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I love the dirt track aspect of it too. Doug Boles, Speedway Prez on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I tell you what else I like too. I was watching Darlington over the weekend as well. I like the 3-driver booth on NBC. I don't mind that. Well, and especially, when you add a Dale Jr. who's so fresh out of the cars and such a great personality anyway, I think that adds a really interesting perspective to it. He's going to be our pace car driver here, which we're excited about. And I'm assuming, because NBC will be the broadcast partner next year for the Indy 500, I'm assuming that Dale Jr. will attend his first Indianapolis 500 in his life next May, which will be really fun to have him. And I think, I think that's great it's great for the sport, for motorsport across the board, having Dale and having NBC so involved. They had him doing Olympic stuff, and I think that helps as well. But when you have drivers with personality in the booth, it does make a difference. Yeah, the dynamic normally
is kind of awkward, especially when you're getting in and out of pit interviews and breaks. But I didn't find that an issue at all while watching it.
Yeah, I agree with that, and like I said, when you cap it off with having Dale around is a pretty big dip for the NBC folks.
I would agree. All right, I got a question for you. Doug Boles, Speedway Prez, is here, and David asked this. Please ask Doug to get a display board on the outside of the back straightaway for those who watch the race from the grass mounds.
So that's a great comment, and the one that I hear the most and have for the last couple of years, and we're working real hard to figure out a solution. It's not just the folks on the mounds on the backstretch, although the folks on the mounds on the backstretch have no option. There's nothing really for them back there. But even throughout, our video content's gotten a lot better on our video boards, but what's gotten worse over the last few years, frankly, is the information we deliver through those video boards, and with the carousels that used to be on the north and south end, and the ability to deliver running order and some of the things that people expected to see. We got to figure out a way to solve that, but appreciate the comment about the backstretch, because for sure the customer that sits on the mounds doesn't have a video board. We've experimented with them in the past for the 500, but I appreciate that comment, and it's definitely one we got to figure out how to get. We pride ourselves that 98% of the people here have access to a video, or the ability to see one. He's in that 2% that don't. We certainly need to fix it.
Yeah, I understand. Doug Boles with us. Hey, by the way, my son is going with Tony. I've got to go. I do Colts pregame, so I got to go there, but my son's going with Tony out to the track. He loved it last year.
I'm excited your son's coming back. I might question a little bit, although Tony knows his way around here. Just make sure Tony has to act like a parent.
He's going to have to watch him a little bit. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, that's hard to do sometimes.
It is, but no. Hey, well, I'll tell you what, best of luck. And I'd love to get Nelly on if you can work that out. So when's Nelly come in here? Anytime?
So I don't know when Nelly's going to be here, but I will try and find out for you.
Let me know.
It's an interesting mix, right, with Cole Swindell and then Nelly and then FGL. And I know Nelly's got some, does some stuff with FGL, so it's not totally, completely opposite thing. But it's, for me, being an old guy watching all this mix, and Walmart Yodeler and all the different things around the music. It should be Saturday's going to be a fun day here at the Speedway.
It is amazing to me how many people that love country music still love the early 2000s Nelly collection, like Country Grammar and that stuff. I mean, it's kind of an interesting mix, because it seems like country music fans embrace that more than any other fan base, and that's why it seems to be kind of a logical connection here with Florida Georgia Line and Nelly.
Well, so we had the two concerts on Friday and Saturday last year. We've already sold about 3,500 more tickets for a Saturday show than we did both shows combined last year. And I think a lot of that really is, Big Machine obviously really promoting, but FGL and Nelly together are the main reason people are coming. So there's absolutely some interest in Nelly, and you can see it in the ticket sales.
Yeah. All right, Doug. Have a spectacular weekend. If you need me, let me know. My kid's going to be out there with Tony having a good time. And if you can get Nelly on the show, man, book him, and we'll do it.
We will. I'll give Tony a call back, and we'll see if we can't help out.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Speedway Prez, Doug Boles on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Isn't that weird how Nelly, I've noticed this too. I'll give you a great example of it. So when I go to French Lick, and I love going to French Lick, they have, inside their casino, they have a little bar area that's got a dance floor, and I've only gone on Friday and Saturday nights, but they have a DJ out there, and when this dude plays a Nelly song, like every Southern Indiana dude and chick, they go out there. Like Hot in Here or Country Grammar or whatever, they just go crazy over that. Why has that been such a embraced part of his catalog for country music fans? That is interesting. Country music fans embrace him, I think, more than hip hop do. I'm assuming that's why they're together with Florida Georgia Line. But
I thought you were going to say, isn't it weird that I'm letting Tony go to the Brickyard with my son? Weird. I'm letting Blake. Tony's going to babysit Blake.
I'm trusting you, buddy. No, he'll be all right. He wants to go, and I said, all right, go. They loved it last year.
Well, then what are we going to tell Lainey when is she going to go too?
She's not going. I can't do that to you. I mean, it's nice enough you're taking him, but having both of them is ridiculous for anybody, for me, for anybody. So no, she's got basketball games, I think, on Sunday anyway, so she's out. Everybody's going every which direction. All right, Doug Boles, Speedway Prez, podcast 1070thefan.com. Bottom of the hour, Greg Rakestraw, Rick Venturi in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll talk about a lot of things. Cut down. We'll talk about the Bengals. You know, the Bengals last week re-up, extended financially a couple of defenders that you have to really worry about coming up on Sunday. Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap. There have been some subtle changes with that Bengals defense, but especially up front, it is legit. Joe Haeg, as of right now, the unofficial. Now, it was released on the official Colts website, but it's the unofficial depth chart on the official Colts website. Has Joe Haeg as your starting right tackle, Matt Slauson as your starting right guard. The number 2 wide receiver is Chester Rogers. But that'll be interesting. To me, that to me is what is the most important for the Colts to try to get a handle on, is that up front. I mean, a guy, game one, like Geno Atkins, can tear it up. And that's the last thing you want to see if you're a fan of the Colts and Andrew Luck, certainly. All right, Connecticut Water question of the day. If I gave you 7, I'll give you the number 7 over-under on wins for 2018 for the Colts. Would you take the over or the under? Right now, Tony, would you take the over or the under?
I'm at 7 and 9, so even.
7 and 9 even. Should I put that at 6 or would that be too easy? Yeah,
you should put that at 6.5.
6.5. Damn.
Just so there's no third option.
Yeah.
Man, but you're 6, so it's fine. We understand.
It's still going to be difficult to do. Listen, and I know that you look at that schedule and you're thinking it's not that tough, but you look at across the board the level of inexperience, and not beyond that, just the level of inexperience combined with the depth, which is 0. And I know that everybody likes the new strength and conditioning guy, but if there's one thing we know about these Colts teams in the past, these guys get injured. That's even more problematic for me than the youth and inexperience itself, because then, what happens? Somebody gets dinged up. What happens behind that youth and that inexperience? We'll get back to John Simon. Thoughts from Rakestraw, bottom of the hour. Rick Venturi, it's a can't miss in the 5 o'clock hour. Here's what I want to do. A little bit later on, your shot at Florida Georgia Line and Nelly tickets. We've got Brickyard 400 tickets, and we've got that dirt track race on Thursday inside IMS that Doug Boles and we were just talking about. We got tickets for that as well. Dave Lapham tomorrow, Kevin Bowen tomorrow, Bruce Feldman of Fox talks a little college football. Had a busy weekend of that. Good weekend for IU, good weekend for Notre Dame. Bad Monday night for Florida State. Bad weekend for Miami. Bad weekend for Chip Kelly. Not so good for Kevin Sumlin, his new spot. Anybody I'm missing? Oh, Jim Harbaugh. Bad weekend. Bad weekend for Braylon Edwards, being drunk and outspoken in social media. Quick break. Greg Rakestraw, bottom of the hour, and your calls at 239-1070. Next.
Mirai is Japanese for the future. And in the future, your commute will be less